Salam all, this is Adil here. So in this very short lecture, we are talking about how to document your sources. Before we start, I noticed that some students, when they submit their papers, for example, they write a paragraph, if the instructor asks them to write paragraph 1, 2, 3, a research, they would write it well written. And then if the instructor says you need minimum 10 references, yes, they go and they list all of the references. The only thing that it is a common repeated mistake that I always see, that they have students come up with all references, but none of these references actually are cited here. None are cited. And for example, let's say the following. For example, they have 10 references as requested by instructor. But I don't know, for example, Hamilton, I don't know Covey, his idea is shown in which paragraph? Here or here or I don't know. There's no way for me to know. And because of that, you always need to have a textual citation. Now I know that this is an idea of Covey. It is my own wording, but it is the originator of the idea is Covey 1989. One of the common mistakes also, for example, students when they write in-text citation, they would write initial of the first name. It is a very common mistake. You don't need to do that. You only need last name, only last name. Please guys, even master students, I see they repeat the same mistake. So just use last name. Perfect. Now, when it comes to references, it is very easy. It's very easy to now there are many softwares, many tools. You can just with one click, you can list all the references. That is not difficult. Now the difficulty is textual citation. For example, should you write Covey like this, or should you write Covey like this? I still see this as a common mistake. So in this lecture, we'll only focus on in-text citation. This is in-text citation. And then coming lectures, I will give you guideline and tutorials on how to list your bibliography. Now let's start with the in-text lecture, in-text citation. Okay, so now this, as I said, this lecture will only focus on in-text citation. Later on, we'll talk about referencing. So basically, most of the headings, I tried to change and bring examples from local names so you can understand. However, the main headings, actually, you can also find them. And I actually adapted them from this source, from your own text. It is an appendix from page 670 to 686. However, the text, your text actually uses old 6th edition. In this brief lecture, I will try to also inform you some updates in the 7th edition. Although in terms of in-text citation, there is no much has changed. No much has changed. So let's keep going. Okay, so mainly the main elements of the in-text citation, you need author name or authors' names and the publication date, and it also depends on the number of how do you display the in-text citation depends on the number of authors. Now we start with the first point, summarized. Now let's read the following. Social learning theory was developed more than 40 years ago. Okay. What I want from you now is to tell me what is the difference between this citation here and this one. What are the differences you can see? What are the differences? You can certainly see that This one here, the author name is within parentheses and the date as well. See, within parentheses. However, this one is outside the parentheses. The question is, when do you need the author name within the parentheses and when outside the parentheses? Okay, it is very simple. It's very simple. You can look at this as if the author name is not part of the sentence. If the author name is not part of the sentence, then you need to bracket them, because as you can say, they are not part of the sentence. You need to bracket them. You need to log them down like this, Okay. But if the author name is within the sentence, part of the sentence, then the author names get out the parentheses. Still not clear? What do I mean by part of the sentence? To clarify the meaning part of the sentence, let's do the following. Assume that, let's remove this author. Let's remove the author. Now read the sentence. Social learning theory was developed more than 40 years ago. Is the sentence meaningful? Yes, it is meaningful. It makes sense. You see? So basically, you don't need this one to make the sentence meaningful, because this is not part of the sentence. If that is the case, you will always need the citation, the name of the author name and the publication date to be within parentheses. On the other side, let's hear, why do we have here the author name as outside the parentheses? Very simple. Because the author name is part of the sentence. What do we mean being part of the sentence? Okay, now I want you to remove this. Imagine that this does not exist. Now read the sentence. Developed social learning theory more than 40 years ago or 30 years ago. Does the sentence make sense? No, it doesn't make. It is not meaningful. It doesn't make much sense. Developed social learning theory. It is like we don't know who developed it, in what context, what does it mean, what you are talking about, because there is a missing component that is part of the sentence, and that this citation here, it is part of the sentence, necessary to have it to make the sentence meaningful. If that is the case, then you will always need the author name to be outside the parentheses. I'm sorry, guys, I pay attention to this because several students make this mistake and I don't know why. So I hope now I have clarified when do you have this outside and when do you have the name within the parentheses. Okay, great. Okay, now what if you have direct quotation? Dear students, please always try and paraphrase. If the idea is not your idea, you must cite. If your idea is not your idea, and the wording, the voice is not your voice, you also need to cite. If it is not your idea, it is not your wording, you also need quotation like this. In addition to the quotation, in addition to the author name, publication date, you also need page number. Okay. Okay. So basically, the question is, do not always use direct quotation. Please do not do that. The only time you need to use double quotation is if in case of a popular definition that you cannot easily paraphrase, feeling that if you paraphrase the meaning or the meaning of the definition might change. And in some other cases, if you have a popular saying, a proverb, then that is the time probably you want to use double quotation like this. Okay. Can you see here now why? Now, can you see that the author name is within parentheses? Because even if you exclude this thing, this sentence still, the sentence still, makes sense. Can you see? It still makes sense, this sentence here. Okay, great. Now let's move to the second, or to the third point, sources of multiple authors. Sometimes you have a publication, a source written by more than one author. Now, how to cite? The idea of when do we have the authors within parentheses and when outside parentheses is the same as with a single author in the previous slide I have just highlighted. For example, Smith and Al-Harthi 2011 claimed that. Can you see that the name of the authors are outside the parentheses because it is necessary for them? They are part of the sentence to make the sentence meaningful. Now, but I want you, with the difference between two author and a single author, I want you to make what differences do you see between this sentence, this citation here, and this citation here? What are the differences? You would say the first difference, that this one here, the author names are outside the parentheses, and here are within the parentheses. You can see. There is another difference. What do you see? Yes, you can see another difference is that in the case of the first one, you see there is this and as in a symbol, but here you have and as a word. Why is that? It's very simple. Because, like previous slide, because okay, let me change this. Because Smith and Al-Harthi, they are outside the parentheses and only date is within the parentheses because this is part of the sentence. And if you are writing a sentence, you need full words. You don't need symbols. Is it clear? When do you use and with like this and when like this? Very simple. If the citation is not part of the sentence, or if it is all are within the parentheses, then you use this because it is not like a sentence, you know. Okay, great. According to Smith and Al-Harthi, so we start the sentence. So a Smith and Al-Harthi within the sentence, so you need only the year within the, yeah. Okay, few things to highlight. Again here, which one? In the sixth edition, it says that if you have 3 to 5 authors, so far we have finished. If you have, let's say, 2 authors, خلاص. In the 6th edition, if there are 3 or 1 author, we are done in the previous slide. 2 authors, we are done. 3 to 5 authors. Based on the 6th edition, they say that if the first time you are using the citation, you need to mention all the names. If there are 3 to 5, Smith, Al-Harthi, and Al-Khalili argued that. The second time, subsequent use, if you are using again the same citation in your paper, the second time you don't need to mention all the names. You only need Smith et al. Et al is a Latin word which means and others. So the second time only say Smith et al. 2011. Clear? However, this has changed in the in the 7th edition. The new the 7th edition. Okay, let me just write that. Okay, so let me erase. How to get that? Okay, 7th edition. For the first, there is no 3 to 5 authors. Now you only have, what do you have? If the authors are 3 and more, the first time, Okay, in the again in the 7th edition, you only need if the authors are 3 and more, you only mention the first author's name, then et al. For example, if you have Smith, Al-Khalili, Al-Harathi. In the 6th edition, you would in the 6th edition you would the first time you use the citation you do this. The second time you say just a Smith et al. Okay. However, in the 7th edition, 3 and more, you don't mention all authors' name. You just say in all places, in all the first and subsequent Smith et al. Okay, great. So and for the like 3 to 5, this is for 6th edition. If you in the class, if you want to use 6th edition for this semester, you can go ahead and do that. But no, the 7th edition no longer 3 to 5 authors. Even this one, you can cancel this one and cancel this one. You only use the first time you use the first name et al. The second time, okay, great. What if you have a source by an organization? Say that you have no, let me see, did I miss anything here? Oh, no, nothing. Okay, just let me clarify this. Smith et al. Asserted that you can see that Smith is part of the sentence. Without Smith et al., the sentence wouldn't be meaningful. That is the case where we have only the year in parentheses. Okay. So if you have a sources issued by an organization is like an author. So let's say, take an example: seeing children suffering from cancer treatment is heartbreaking. Oman Cancer Association. So this you write the name of the association, because sometimes you need information not from publications but from official civil associations and organizations. The same thing applies if the name of the organization is part of the sentence. In this case, it is toward the end because it is not part of the sentence. Now, let's take another example. In its 2013 newsletter, the Oman Cancer Association, you can see that the name of the author or the organization is outside the parenthesis because it is part of the sentence, discussed the new approaches to cancer treatment, etc. Okay. What if you have sources with unknown author? Let's say author not identified. Okay, so use shortened version of title. So the author is not, yeah, my kids are screaming right now. You can hear that. Author not identified. Okay, use a shortened. For example, it is argued that sounding serious and actually being serious are not different. So the author is not identified. Go and get the shortened title. Okay, now so you can if that is the case, you bring the title of the website or the article, and then you write knowledge isn't power. So that is because as an example, if I don't know the author name, instead I'll bring the title. Now if you have within the parenthesis like you see the quotation here, this doesn't mean double quotation. It means it is a short version of the title. However, I would always suggest and recommend you not to use unknown author articles, not to use unknown resources. Avoid, okay? Sometimes author not identified as anonymous, you just say anonymous, okay? I don't encourage you again to use resources and sources with what that are not known. You need an article, a paper where the author is mentioned. Okay, what if you have multiple authors with the same last name? So that will be confusing. So let's say while Al-Harathi 2015 argued that knowledge is not power, but you have another author whose name is also Al-Harathi, and who also published in the same year. Now, if you, both of them, they're two different authors, two different publications, they published in the same year. To differentiate that, probably you need, for the first one, the last name Al-Harthi 2015. The second one, you need the initial and the middle name, just to differentiate between this and that. Whatever is written in your text must be listed in the reference list, okay? Great. Okay, but sometimes you actually have the same author who happened to publish in 2015, for example, two different pieces. So basically, but they are two different sources. For example, let's say Al-Harthi has published an article and a book in 2015. Now, how do you do that? You come here, and then you say, for the first source, Al-Harthi, let's say Al-Harthi, okay, 2000, I would say 2019, argued that, okay. But the same author, Al-Harthi, also said somewhere else, in a different book, a different article, a different source. See, again, the same year, 2019. Now, if this is the case, I cannot map this one belongs to which reference, because I will get confused. To avoid that confusion, maybe the first one you need to give it like A, and the second one B. And then if you go to reference list, it says 2019 A, 2019 B, okay? What if you have multiple sources, sources, I mean. You need to arrange in alphabetical order. So let's say as evidenced, or as evident in previous, as evident here, okay. In previous studies, employee involvement is imperative for both individual and organizational success. Now, who said that? Who said that? This guy said that, this guy said that. So basically, this is one source, maybe an article, another source, maybe a book, another source. You need to arrange these in alphabetical order. C, G, K, then M. You can see that here I'm actually using a symbol instead of and as a word, because it is not part of the sentence. You see? Okay. Now, when do we use the multiple sources? When do we do this? Let me give you an example. Okay, I don't know if you can see. I'm trying to record here. I need to go to the website. Okay, so let's go to Google Scholar. Let's say that I want to write about leadership in Oman. Okay, just I want to explain how to do the analysis. Okay. I don't know if you can see. Let me double check if you can see this. Okay. Let me see. No, back. Okay. So we have here. Hold on. Okay, we have, as you can see, many people wrote on leadership in Oman. So I have this citation here, this source, very developing leadership in Oman. So this article certainly talks about leadership in Oman, and you can read the article. So if you can see here little, you see, let me zoom this. I don't know, how do we zoom that? Okay. You can see this double quotation. If you click on that, you get to see APA sign. You can copy this one and put in the reference. But we are not talking about the references right now. We are talking about in-text citation. But you can copy that if you want for the references. Copy this one. Okay, then go to Microsoft Word. Let me just go. Yeah, I'll put it there. Okay, so this guy talks about leadership in Oman. Okay. feminizing leadership in an Arab society, Omani, so it has to do with Oman. You need to read the abstract, decide whether you want to use that source or not. You can cite again here, bring it here, go to your reference list, put it there. Later on, I will share with you how to use Zotero. Let's say leadership in healthcare profession. I don't know about whether it's Oman Medical Journal. Okay, so it might be about Oman. Employee, Oman study, relationship, gender, no, developing school. It has to do with leadership, but in education. You can also cite that. Okay, distribute leadership Oman. All of these are about Oman. Okay, so just get any of the, just to give an example, copy the citation. Okay. It has to do about Oman. Leadership style, senior, study of selected in Muscat firms. It has to do with leadership in Oman, it seems. You can see the issue with Google Scholar using these references, it misses the main element of the reference. You can see this is a journal article, but it misses the pages from to. There's only one single page with the end, so don't rely on Google Scholar most of the time. You need to double check manually once you use it. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So these guys, all these sources talked about leadership in Oman. So what you can do here is you can start. Okay. You can start with the general introduction. Like there are. Let me just increase the font size. You can say there are several studies, several researchers. Likewise, several researchers studied leadership aspects in Oman. Now, who studied leadership? Who studied leadership in Oman? There are many studies there. You can give an example. Now, here you need multiple sources. You can have, this is common 2011. I will just write common 2011. And then you need semicolon, guys, not a comma, semicolon, because you're separating a source. Then you have a Lemke 2017. Bring here. Okay, 2007, sorry. Semicolon, then Al-Hinai, and these two authors, you see, they should be together. Okay. Al-Hinai, and you have to use a symbol because this is part of the, you know, and then like which year, that was 2002. Okay, so probably you can see that. And then we have Mishra, blah blah blah, these two guys here. You need to bring all of them. But according to the APA 7th edition, it says you only need at al, so you don't mention all the names. You only mention Mishra at al. You see, 2000 and what? 14. Okay, halas, close it. Now you have your in-text multiple source. Now you have this one here. You can see that, where is it? Yes, you can see now this is one single sentence, you know. All right, I don't know, let me just make it clear. Okay, now you can see now, several researchers studied leadership in Oman. Example, some people who did that, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. Okay, perfect. So this is how to use multiple sources. Okay, let's keep moving. Now, hold on, there is something here. We say that multiple sources must be arranged in alphabetical order. So this one should come first. Okay, you see, now that was the whole idea why I wanted to do this. Then, no, but there's also this one. H comes before L, so this one comes before here, and then this one, and then C, and then M. Great. I hope that is clear. Okay, we are done with multiple sources. Now, personal communication. What if you have conducted an interview? So if you have conducted an interview, the way you cite in-text citation, this is how you do it. Don't say interview, you just say personal communication. Whether it is face-to-face, phone interview, emails, letters, as long as interview, you want to cite that person after you have taken his or her permission, then you need to write first name, middle, personal communication, March 3, 2015. So now this is in-text citation. Okay, great. What if you have electronic sources? If this is the last slide for now. If the date is unknown, use ND. Okay. Knowledge is in power. This is you can see that we have double quote because we don't know the author. That's why we are using shortened version of the title, and then there is no date. If you know the author but you don't know the date, it is argued that sounding serious and actually being serious are not different. Okay, I just Krugman ND. Okay, no date. If source has no, okay, spell typo here. If a source has no page number but comes with a paragraph number, so sometimes some students go there and they find an interesting piece, but no page numbers, and they want to use direct quotation. Probably you want to use para 5, paragraph 3, paragraph 2. However, I do not recommend any piece, any article that the author is not known, no page numbers, because it is not it might imply that it is not credible. Not always, but most of the time. If no paragraph or page number, use headings. Alternatively, you can use headings. Okay, now these are some sources, very interesting sources. I would highly recommend you to use this. Let's take the first one. Okay, guys. Now these are the. I highly recommend to have a look at this. APA, American Psychological Association. They have very, very interesting sources. So this is instructional aids. I highly recommend you to visit this website. So let me just go there and put it there. So okay, so let me just yeah. Okay, so this is instructional aids. This is very useful. Okay, so basically, I don't know what happens. Okay, I highly recommend you guys to go and check the American Psychological Association. You can see, for example, yes, instruction aids here. You have very interesting tutorials and webinars, very, very useful. Handouts, samples, student sample paper, a professional paper. You can get samples over here. I highly recommend. This is a very rich website. Okay, so this is one source. Another source is sample student paper. Please check it out. Let me just go there to the student. Okay, so my little boy, actually, he wants to come in. I locked the door. So basically, I'm sorry. Okay, anyways. This is a sample. It's only 7 pages. You don't need to memorize. Please check it out. It's annotated, very interesting. And now you have a title, how it's supposed to be written. It explains everything. How do you cite? If it is a keyword or a key term, you might want to have it italicized like this. Okay, just check it out. It's very, very useful. Not only that, when we, dear students, when we talk about APA, many students, not many, I would say most, not most, I would say several students think that APA, because they are not introduced yet to APA, it is only reference list and in-text citation. In the past, I used to receive about 80% of papers, especially from students who are in the second or the third year, who have never been introduced to APA. they would only list the references. They will never have in-text citation. So basically, APA is not only in-text citation. It is not only about references. It is also about the headings. For example, this heading here, you can see the heading. It is about subheadings, how they are supposed to be displayed. Should it be in the center, the left side? What font size? It gives you a level 2 heading, level 1 heading, you see? It's very interesting. I highly recommend you to check it out. Okay. Let me see, what do we have? Okay. Sample student paper, keep watching it out. I will not spend time because I am positive that you will go and check it out by yourself. Then you have, yes, can you see this is the only time when you have the initials in the initials of the author. Only in the case of interview. You can see here, like, you know, you have the initial and the name of the author and the month, date, and the year, if that is an author, if that is an interview. And then you have references, you know, okay, it says here, book reference, reports, how do you do that? Arrange in alphabetical order. Guys, don't forget, must be arranged in alphabetical order. I will really pay much attention in your final proposal and final group project. Okay. This is, let me check if I have another useful, this is for professional sample. Check it out. This will be very helpful, especially for master PhD students. I want to make this one less than 45 minutes. Okay, so this is another one, professional paper, basically for grad students, but even for some of you, you can use that methodology you have. I just want to highlight one thing. When you use tables and figures, how do you display that? How do you display that? Do I have any? Yes. Guys, keep in mind the following, that whenever you have a table, APA table, never, ever, I will evaluate even the way you display table. Yeah, the tables, I will also, I will evaluate your papers based on the way you display, you present tables, figures, headings, in text and references. Don't forget, keep that in mind. So the APA tables, you never have vertical lines. Okay, never vertical lines, only horizontal. And then you have, keep in mind in APA, the title of all tables must have titles. You must have a title, and the title is italicized. See, written in italics. But the table number is a little bit bolded and then normal, not italics. When it comes to figure, it can be picture, images, diagrams, charts. These are considered as figures. And then the difference between figure and the, you know, that usually that, what do you have? You have the figure, you have the figure on top, you see, figure, and then the title is italicized. And then, journal, I really want you to read this, the JARS. JARS are very important, journal article reporting standards. Now, how do you report? How do you report? It depends whether you have quantitative research or qualitative or mixed method. The way you report, these are standard. Quantitative, the way you report numbers, the way you report statistics. Please go and read this. How do you analytics method? How do you report that? How do you report general quantitative? For example, let me check this one out. Some reporting, you see, very interesting. I just one paper. Check it out. The way you report N, the way you report sample size, discussion. How do you discuss? How do you report? How do you? All these are listed there. Please check it out. And finally, this is the reference list. I highly recommend you to check. This is a very quick guideline, very quick guideline on referencing. Once you are done with in-text, you must have all your cited sources in the reference list or in the bibliography. This is a 7th edition quick guide. So, for example, if you have a journal article, you need the author names. It explained here, the year, the title. You see, use that. Please use that. Okay, I will stop now for here. I want to make this one 40 minutes. And please check the resources I have displayed here. Keep in mind that I will pay attention in your report. APA is within your proposal or in your report. For now, please stay safe, stay at home.